Keeble, you must be under the impression that I encourage malarkey. Well, I do not. I excourage it.
I'm tough like a tank. Yeah, a septic tank.
Me Google is me name. I like a swampy bogue. It's time to play a game with your favorite island frog.
Sweet a can.
Mustard. You can't catch up. 'Cause it's mustard.
Oh, stop smiling. This isn't a happy place.
It is your championship jockstrap. Don't worry, we washed it. Wash it again.
Cease.
Fart knocker.
All right, everybody. Cease and listen to the rest of this episode of Film on the Rocks.
I love how you were like, I've got a great intro. Okay. I gotta write this down.
This is my note. Cease.
Did you spell it right?
No.
No, you didn't.
I don't know if I know how to spell cease.
It's the same way Brecker spelled it, but with a C instead of an S.
I did spell it with a C. Yes. I can spell it.
I don't know, man. But I didn't grow up eating alphabet soup. But, so...
Got him.
You're really singing me there, babe.
Oh, man,
Oh,
this
man.
pod is going to be good.
This is going to be bad.
It's gonna be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back to another episode of Film on the Rocks. We are continuing... Actually, we are also concluding our first movie request month. Wow. Today, we are talking about the 2001 Disney hit...
Masterpiece.
Masterpiece.
Disney masterpiece.
Max Keeble's Big Move, directed by Tim Hill. And I'm joined with, always, as my co-host, Levi.
Good to be here, Brooker.
And you might have recognized that there is a third voice with us. My lovely girlfriend, Kat, is joining us. Kat, how you doing?
Hello.
Woo!
I'm really excited. I love this movie. As my mom can attest, like, I watch this movie on repeat, and I know it by heart. It's amazing. I love it.
And you also joined on the proposal episode with Levi's wife, Rachel.
Right.
And I completely forgot to mention this in that episode, so I'm going to bring it up now.
What?
Oh, no, it's a good thing.
Oh, okay.
Kat is the person...
Like, what did I mess up all the way back in February that is so bad we need to bring it up in April?
No, Kat is the person who designed our cover art for Film on the Rocks. So,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You see that nice little pretty cover art that you got on that podcast playing right now? That's because of Kat. She designed it.
You're welcome.
It is a really, really great cover art. I remember whenever Brooker asked me to be on this pod, he was like, hey, we're starting this thing. I would love for you to be on it. This is what it is. And he showed me. I was like, oh, my gosh, this is so professional. Oh, my gosh.
Thank
yeah.
you. It's the cover art that won you over, isn't it? Yeah. That's what made you said, yes, I want to be on this pod.
If I can be honest, if anything was going to push me over, it was that. Like, I was like, I know Brooker. Brooker's a great conversationalist. We both love movies. And, man, that design is so good. I got to do this pod.
I'm flattered. Thank you. That went straight to my head.
Good. It should. It was really good.
Well, thank you so much for being with us, because I know that once we drew this movie in our mini-sode,
I like screamed like a little girl.
yeah, when I told you that we're doing this, I didn't know that you loved this movie so much.
Yeah, well, I didn't know that you loved the other one so much. What was it? It's the one with Matthew McConaughey. Or maybe you did do it.
Failure to Launch?
Yeah, did you do that?
No, we haven't done that one.
Okay. I know
Maybe
we
someday.
talked about it. I can't keep up anymore.
Maybe someday.
Yeah, I didn't know you liked that one so much. So, we're all full of secrets after 10 years.
Yeah, and so just before diving further into this movie, Max Keeble's Big Move came out in 2001. And I misspoke in our minisode. This is not a Disney Channel original movie. This is a Disney movie, but it had a theatrical release.
Okay.
And for a Disney movie, it has a lot of Nickelodeon, like...
True.
people that were on Nickelodeon.
Yes, like obviously Josh Peck and the director Tim Hill. He's done a lot of Nickelodeon stuff. He's done a handful of the SpongeBob SquarePants movies, and in fact, there's a new SpongeBob movie coming out called Sponge on the Run, and he wrote this. That's coming out this year, 2020, and Tim Hill wrote the screenplay for that. He's done other other Nickelodeon shows. He wrote about 30, around 30 episodes of Rocko's Modern Life.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and this is kind of like this is his niche, doing these kids movies and these kids shows. That this is pretty much what his whole filmography is with. So yeah, it's interesting. And I remember when I was kind of doing some of the research for this, and I saw some interviews with Tim Hill. I saw that he even wore like Nickelodeon jackets on the set of this movie, which is interesting. I wonder if there's any sort of if there's any sort of like conflict of interest with that, just because I don't know if it is a real rivalry or not, but people definitely seem to compare, Disney products to Nickelodeon products and shows and movies. So I don't know. It was kind of interesting to see this nice mix and mesh of things.
Yeah, I don't know what the rivalry. I can't remember what the rivalry looked like back then, as far as like how Nickelodeon was pretty popular back in the early 2000s. But man, if the battle's still going on, Disney is destroying. So I don't think they care.
No, I don't. I wouldn't think that they care because they're two very different things.
Yeah. And also Alex. So this movie stars Alex D. Linz, Larry Miller, Zenna Gray, Josh Peck, and then Jamie Kennedy, of course. But I was going to throw in there that Alex D. Linz, who plays Max in this movie, he also voiced Hey Arnold, but he voiced like the kid Hey Arnold, not the normal one.
He's not the actual guy that voiced Hey Arnold for the entire thing. He voiced Hey Arnold for like just 3 things, I think, and it was like little Hey Arnold.
I think it was like in the movie, the actual like movie from 2002. I think is the only Hey Arnold.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
I think that's his big. At least on IMDb, he's credited with that.
Yeah, and I don't think he's really done. Alex D. Linz, I don't think he's done too much. I think his last credit was something in 2007.
He plays young Tarzan in the Tarzan movie.
Oh yeah, that's right. You did say that.
Mm-hmm.
Which is just the best.
Yes.
Which that came out did that come out? I think in 2000 exactly.
He was also in Home Alone 3.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was the kid. He was a little kid in Home Alone 3.
Yeah.
Which was
Once Macaulay Culkin got aged out.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, it wasn't the McAllisters anymore. I do remember
I don't
I did remember liking Home Alone 3 when I was a kid, just because so much of it focused on that remote control race car. I was like, oh, I want a race car. I want a remote control car like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but so
I've only seen Home Alone 1, so I do not know anything about it.
You haven't seen Home Alone 2? That's the best one.
2, 3, no.
Alrighty, well, moving on.
I'm sorry to disappoint you. I can see it in your eyes.
Like I said, this is part of our movie request month, and this was requested by Nate the Force Ghost.
Love you, Nate.
And yes, love you, Nate. While he's not on the show anymore, he is still a listener, and we get many reviews from him, but we encourage it. So we always love feedback, so please feel free to reach out to us with any sort of feedback or reviews on iTunes. But Nate had to say the reason why he chose this is because he just remembers seeing the advertising for this on Disney Channel like all the time. Like, the advertising for this movie was just everywhere, and he said it's like still burnt and stuck in his brain. And he said that he did give us a drinking rule to include, which we will talk about when we get there. But so again, thank you for the request.
Yes, I love this. I'm so excited. This is like, I just love this movie so much. I truly, just like when he got freakishly confident, I truly just idolized him for his confidence, and I really wanted to be Max Keeble so bad when I was a kid. Like, I thought he was so cool.
Did you see this in the theaters when it came out?
No. I don't think so. I think I just like kept bugging my mom to like pick it up at Blockbuster.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's even like more nostalgic.
Oh yeah,
That's good.
Like I searched for it over and over and over and over again. I'm surprised I don't actually own this movie because I love it so much, and I know that I bugged my parents to get it for me over and over and over again at Blockbuster. And there was a lot of times when we couldn't find it. I remember that. It's heartbreaking.
This was a popular movie. I remember seeing this, but I definitely didn't see it in theaters. I'm guessing this movie came on the Disney Channel because I don't remember renting, like getting my mom to rent this from Blockbuster or anything when I was a kid. But I know I saw this movie a bunch when I was a kid because I remember I'm pretty sure I saw it on TV a handful of times, but I haven't seen it since. And honestly, I thought it held up, pretty well. As cheesy as it is,
it holds up perfectly.
It's fun. Levi, have you seen this movie before, or was this your first time watching it?
So similar to what Nate said, I grew up. I would see advertisement for this movie all over the place. I can remember vividly what the commercial looked like. I was quoting the movie whenever a line would pop up that was in the advertisement, I would quote the rest of it. And Rachel was watching with me, and she was like, "I thought you haven't seen this movie." I'm like, "I haven't. I just remember the commercial because it would play all the time." This was my first time seeing it, and I've grown very wary of whenever Brooker is like, "We're doing a Disney Channel movie," I thought this was a Disney Channel original movie. It's not like your classic like cartoon, like it's not like Lion King or Tarzan or anything like in that area, Aladdin, late 90s, whatever. And I looked at the Rotten Tomato score beforehand. It's a 28 with a 38 audience score. And I was like, okay, well, we'll see how this goes. It's probably, Luck of the Irish was okay. Smart House was okay. Guys, this movie is amazing. I love Max Keeble's Big Move. It is such a good movie. I was so angry at the end of the movie that this only got a 29% on Rotten Tomatoes. At the bare minimum, this needs to be a 70% certified fresh. At the very minimum. It's not a perfect movie, but good gravy for being made in 2001 and being made like in that era when we're seeing stuff like Smart House and Luck of the Irish also being made. This movie was awesome. So I love this movie. I think that I'm going to say that this deserves at least, I'm going to give it a 70. I'm going to say 78. Maybe, no, 77. I'm going to give it a 77. I think that this is really, really good. I thought the acting was great. I thought the story was awesome. I thought that they squeezed a ton into like an 85, 90-minute movie. The story was compelling. The the dialogue made sense. The casting I thought was really good. I really have other than the fact that there are other Disney movies and other movies that are just, better and have more money poured into them and are just overall just a little bit better. This movie has really nothing wrong with it, given the fact that it was, it wasn't a super big budget, and I don't know. It was really, really good.
Well, first off, I'm thrilled that you actually liked this.
I loved it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I will say though, this movie didn't do super great at the box office when it came out. It had a $25 million budget and only grossed worldwide about $18.6 million.
That's a bigger budget than I thought it would be.
Yeah, it was. I think it was. Honestly, I think the budget was just because there's so many like cameos in this movie. There's Tony Hawk.
Yes.
Jamie Kennedy is like a major player in this as well.
Lil Romeo,
who
was really big at the time.
Yes, that's true. Lil Romeo, he also had a Nickelodeon show too.
Yeah, Lil Romeo. I watched that show. Love that show.
Josh Peck, I don't know if he was, because this, I wonder, was this around the time the Amanda Show was on?
I mean, he was definitely had been working in the industry for a very long time.
Yeah,
at least it seemed like it up until that point.
I think this might have been before the Amanda Show.
No, this was after. The Amanda Show started in 1999.
Oh.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So, yeah, and then we get him, and then there's also, there's a few other like Disney Channel people that you see on here. Like we get Gordo from Lizzie McGuire has a very small cameo in this.
I saw that.
Yeah, like 2 seconds.
And then also from Lizzie McGuire, Sam, the character Sam McGuire, that actor.
Oh my god.
He's Max Keeble's dad.
I could not. He doesn't belong with anybody except Joe McGuire. And that is my firm belief on that. It seemed wrong and forced.
Yeah.
So I was just like, where's Joe?
Yeah, the woman who played Max's mother, Nora Dunn, actually played... Have you guys seen Air Bud, the Golden Receiver?
No, I have not seen that
I
one.
refuse to watch dog movies.
How dare you? That movie is amazing.
No, here's the thing. I have this rule, and Brooker can back me up on this. It's a stupid rule, maybe. My parents also abide by this rule. If the dog dies in the movie, I don't want it. I don't want to watch it. I don't want to see it. It's a cheap
Air Bud
thing.
doesn't die.
Yeah, but most of the time in dog movies, dogs die, and it's sad and it's stupid, and I don't like it. So I have this rule: I don't watch dog movies.
Air Bud is a good one. You should absolutely check him. The basketball one was the first one. That one was pretty good. The football one is amazing.
Yeah, I saw that one.
I have seen the basketball.
The football one is better in my opinion. But Nora Dunn plays the villain in this one. She's like this. I don't know what country she's from, but she's trying to like gather a bunch of animals together to like create this traveling circus of these animals who can do these amazing tricks, but she's trying to find their main attraction. And this dog who can catch footballs and run and actually play football, she's like, we have found our main attraction, and she's trying to capture Air Bud. And I could not put my finger on it because watching her, I was like, she kept giving the dad looks, like the side eye, like, oh, we're moving, are we? And I was like, I know that look. Where is that from? And it's from Air Bud. Also, Orlando Brown from That's So Raven.
Yes, he's in
bless
this.
his heart.
Oh yeah, it was really good. And you have to say that Drake and Josh Peck from Drake and Josh, it was one of the best shows ever on television. Drake and Josh.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it was awesome seeing
Peck.
him in this. And
yeah, it was really good to see Orlando Brown in this, because he was such a great child actor, and it's just unfortunate where he's ended up.
And there was also Justin Burfield, who plays Reese on Malcolm in the Middle. He was one of the school journalists in this movie.
Yeah, he was the journalist that was always with the photographer.
That's right.
Yeah, and I didn't watch Malcolm in the Middle, but I just recognized his face, and I was like, oh, who is this guy from? And then that's it. He's from Malcolm in the Middle after I looked it up. But yeah, so I have a feeling that a lot of the budget kind of went to pay Lil Romeo, Tony Hawk, and Jamie Kennedy to just be in this movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, I'm pretty sure it was expensive to be in that school, because so much of this movie takes place in a school. And
but I think, now I might be wrong on this, but that school looks like every other school that has ever featured in any movie, TV show ever. So it might just be the same school.
Maybe. Also, I wonder how much of the budget goes towards just having child actors, because I was watching in that it's law that because the kids still have to go to school, so they have to have tutors on the set, and it's required by law that the kids at least spend a minimum of 1 hour a day with a tutor, but the film industry standard is 3 hours a day. And so I guess a lot of that budget kind of maybe went towards tutors as well, because this is a predominantly child cast.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that also eats into the budget as well.
Probably. Although God knows they probably didn't spend as much there as they did elsewhere. But yeah.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. But
I don't think they're sinking half their budget for tutors.
I'm not saying half the budget, but a dent.
Yeah, maybe.
One thing that I found interesting about this movie, fun little tidbit before we get into drinking rules, was that the working title for this movie was 7th Grade Heart Attack.
Oh,
Yeesh.
Disgusting.
Yeah, Max Keeble's big move is a lot better.
Oh, so much better.
Wait, is he supposed to be in 7th grade?
Junior high, yeah.
What?
I don't know what grades constitute as junior high.
Yeah, because they didn't call it junior high when I was in school. It was just 7th and 8th grade.
Does it not start in 6th? Does it start in 7th?
I have no
Yeah,
idea.
that's something
Right.
that really depends, I think, on the state or the county or whatever. Because I know a lot of places, 6th grade is the start of junior high. Like junior high being the step before high school. Middle school is kind of the over umbrella, I guess. Like my schools were split up into, or at least the predominant one was there was an intermediate school, which was 5th and 6th grade, and then a middle school, which was 7th and 8th grade. It's for some people, sometimes elementary also includes 5th grade. Sometimes middle school is just 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. But I think it all just kind of depends. I figured Max Keeble was like in 5th grade or at least 6th grade. That's crazy. He's in 7th.
For them to actually land on Alex D. Lentz, they auditioned over 700 kids for this role.
Wow.
And they said that in this behind the scenes documentary thing that I watched, they said that when he auditioned, they kind of just fell in love with him very quickly.
How could you not?
This kid does have a lot of charisma. I'll give him
This
that.
kid is perfect in every
He's
single
very
way.
good. He's a good face actor, and he's good. His intangibles are really good. Like his ability to, when he's standing there looking at the principal or talking to someone, like his eyebrow raise or his kind of or like his face between thoughts is really, really good. It's very natural.
It's a shame this kid didn't do more. I get it. He wanted to have a normal life or whatever. Maybe. I don't know
Or
why
whatever.
He didn't go on to do more stuff, but it's a genuine shame.
And while we're raving about him, what's funny is that the only person to win an award from this was Brooke Ann Smith, who played Jenna, the crush of Max Keeble. She won an award for what? For Best Young Actress. It was a Young Actors Award, not an Academy. But yeah, she won. Yeah.
Barf. She did nothing in this entire movie.
She was in it for maybe a total of 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah, all she did was be a bitch. And, have more developed breasts than anyone else.
Oh my gosh! I don't know if I agree with that. I thought she did great.
I didn't like her. She as an actress, whatever her name is, great. She's wonderful. Nothing wrong with her, and she's a kid, so no qualms with her. But her character was so shallow and vapid and had nothing going on and had no depth. It was literally just, I am the most developed girl in the school and shoo.
Didn't you also say that she was a lot older than...
She was. Okay, so I looked up the ages.
Oh, I might be getting them all confused. You're not talking about oh my gosh,
Megan.
I thought you were talking about Megan.
Oh, no, I'm talking about Jenna.
Oh,
no.
I agree.
Jenna.
I agree with
Jenna.
that. I thought you were talking about Megan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with the fact that I thought Megan was a great character and did a lot for the film. I thought you were talking about Megan. No, I agree with the 8th grader or whatever her name was. No, she was just kind of the more developed middle schooler that was like, "Hey, I'm taller and I have blonde hair and I'm beautiful. Do you want to come get milkshakes for us? Also, this milkshake place lets us dance on the table. It's so awesome."
Yeah,
their health code is low.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
There's no way that would ever happen in real life. But I did look up the ages, and Megan and Max, they were both 12 when this movie came out.
Okay.
And Jenna was 17.
Oh
when
my
this movie
gosh.
came out. So it was almost borderline statutory. A little.
Yeah, a little bit. Oh my gosh.
They were not even teenagers, and she was almost a legal adult. So close.
She did sound like, it's funny that she was 17. Her voice was so high, and if you didn't hear her voice, you'd probably be like, yeah, she's 16, 17. But then you hear her talk, and you're like, oh, you might be in middle school.
Yeah, and that's something I was saying. Is she had such a young face, and her teeth looked like she needed braces still. Which by the time you're 17, you've kind of gone through all that. So
I can't even think of her teeth. How hard were you staring at her?
They
teeth?
were sticking out. I don't know how you didn't notice, but yeah, I don't know. They were they were I don't know. I just noticed that. I was like, her teeth she needs to see an orthodontist. But so
I wish y'all could see Brooker digging a hole right now on Skype.
It's just a really weird thing to look at.
She's talking. You don't look at someone's mouth when they talk?
No.
That's actually a really
Right.
good question. Do you look at someone's eyes when they talk, their mouth? Some people I know look at people's noses or at the top of their forehead.
I look at people in the eye.
I look at their mouth because I already can't hear well, so
Oh, well, you have
I need to
issues.
like read lips a little bit.
Can you
So
read lips?
It helps when I like hear that. Stop it! Oh my god!
For those who can't see, I started to mouth words to see if he could read my lips.
I just put the two together and it helps makes a nice picture, and I'm ignoring you. So, all right. Well, while I still have some pride, let's talk about drinking rules. Levi, would you like to start us off?
I would love to, Brooker. My number one drinking rule, and this is near the very, very beginning, and it is my absolute favorite. I have 2 finish your drinks on this one.
Oh.
The first is right at the beginning, so you have a full pint of whatever you're drinking, full glass of whatever you're drinking. You have to finish whenever Tony Hawk makes it on the screen. Yo, I freaked out. I sat down and Rachel was like doing something in the other room and I don't know exactly. And I was like, babe, come on, the movie says. She's like, go ahead and start. And he's, the montage starts and I'm like, oh, Tony Hawk, Rachel, Tony Hawk's in this movie. And she was like, oh, okay, I'm coming. It was very cool. So finish your drink whenever Tony Hawk pops on the screen. Like, gosh, what a cool 2001, like, cameo.
Yeah.
Like, good gravy.
Oh, yeah?
In 2001, I don't think
So
you could have gotten a
2001.
better cameo than Tony Hawk. That was awesome.
Oh, hell no.
He was like every like kid's idol, I'm sure.
Oh,
Like,
Oh,
yeah.
he was, for sure.
Oh, yeah. He was awesome. Oh, he was so cool.
He was also, like, heavily involved with Nickelodeon stuff. I
yeah,
think.
he did all those like kids' choice awards too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's still super cool. He's in his early to mid 40s, and he's still, like, skateboarding.
Is he only in his 40s? Is
He's
he
a-
only? I have to Google that.
Pretty
Is
sure.
he really only in his 40s?
I'm going to guess he's, like, 43 or 44.
I was going to say, like, early 50s.
Maybe he's in his 50s. I
But
don't know.
I might be wrong. He's 51.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, man. Good. He's even cooler than I thought he was. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, no, he is. He's a super cool dude. I would. Yeah, no, he's been around. for a
Dang,
while.
Tony Hawk's pushing 60. Whoa. Yeah, okay,
Whoa.
yeah.
Oh, okay, he's 51. He's
He's
not
51.
pushing
That's-
60.
He's pushing 52. He's pushing.
I mean, still, like, if you're in your 50s, to just realize the next step is 60. Anyway, Tony Hawk's amazing, and he'll always be
And
cool.
He's still killing it.
Yeah.
He is just the coolest. So, yeah, finish your drink whenever Tony Hawk pops on the screen. Anytime the principal yells, cease, take a
Ooh, that's
drink.
a good one.
Which is more often than you think. I love that word too. Like, of all the things, it's not like be quiet or stop. It's cease. I love that.
Like what you say to a dog.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Which is, it's applicable. He kind of sees these kids as animals, as just kind of rats running around his, what does he call it? Rungs. You're all rungs on my ladder to success, or whatever he says.
God.
So take.
He's such a prick.
Oh, no.
I hate
Such
him.
an asshole.
I mean, why would you get into teaching and administration for a school if you hate you? I don't get it. So yeah, drink every time
It's not
he
for the money, I can
yells
tell you that.
cease. Oh right, no, seriously. Teachers are very much underpaid. When this is my other finisher drink. Whenever Robe, played by Josh Peck, says, when he's talking to Max Keeble after they catch him at this milkshake parlor for hooligans, and he's talking about how Megan has like a crush on him, and he says, in his Josh Peck voice, he goes, Megan has a crush on you, or whatever. And so for all of you Drake and Josh fans, Josh Peck's one of his most famous lines in the show is whenever his stepsister Megan does something, he goes, Megan. So finish your drink whenever he says whenever he says Megan, because I think that's the only time in the whole movie he says Megan. So finish your drink.
Oh, that's hilarious.
That's
a great connection.
Oh yeah, I loved it. I heard it's like Megan. I said, oh Josh, oh I love you. It is one of my Drake and Josh is easily one of my top 20 Probably top 15. Very well could be top 10 favorite television shows ever. I also had whenever the bully played by Noel Fisher has a
Troy McGinty.
Yeah, Troy McGinty. Whenever he has a new name on his shirt, take a drink.
Oh, that's a good one.
I gotta say, kind of a cool move by a bully. Like he at least has showmanship. I will give him that.
Yeah.
He has a future in PR, like a very promising future in PR. The way he like can command his audience and leaves them in suspense, and like has this like announcement daily. Like that's PR.
Oh my
Like,
gosh!
I am
yeah.
anti-bully, but this guy, I was pretty cool. I'll give him a point for that.
I don't know what you want to do for Halloween. But I really, really, really want to be Troy McGinty for Halloween with the Max Keeble written on the shirt.
I love that.
I think that would be so cool.
I
don't know
that.
how I'm going to get short red hair, but I'm going to do it.
So am I just going to spike my hair like super high?
Spike your hair really high and get you like a red soccer jersey like he has.
Okay.
Oh, I
And
love
you can
that.
be Max Keeble, and I'll be Troy McGinty.
Sounds great.
That's great. I don't know. It's gonna be hard to top y'all's. I've seen those pictures of y'all being Cosmo and Wanda. It's gonna be hard to top that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody will understand Max Keeble and Troy McGinty.
That makes it that much better, though. Who cares? Y'all are. I think that's a great one.
Is that good? Is that good when people can't tell what your costume is?
I think.
Does that make you cool?
No,
or-
I think that just means that you dressed up for yourself as opposed to dressed up to please other people.
Yeah.
Damn, that got deeply.
Yeah, girl, you know I'm gonna throw some deep stuff into this. I think that's all. But yes, I support y'all's Halloween costume. My last one was anytime. I already forgot its name. The frog, the Scottish frog, Highland frog.
McGoogle.
Whenever McGoogle makes sort of an appearance,
Is me name?
take a drink, like in costume. When you hear the theme song, just kind of do a slight waterfall. And so whenever you got Troy opening and closing his locker, you got to have that trigger finger. You got to be ready to tilt the bottle.
Yes.
But those are my drinking rules. What about y'all?
Do you want to go first?
Sure.
Okay.
I really like that the one whenever you hear the McGoogle's theme song. I love that. I wish I thought of that. One of my drinking rules was whenever the Britney Spears song comes on for Jenna.
That's good.
I don't think it's that often,
That's good.
but
Definitely often enough to make it a drinking rule.
yeah, I would also say finish your drink whenever they get to the food fight.
Oh, okay.
I called that food fight
Yeah.
so quickly. I saw, number one, I knew there was going to be a food fight eventually, and they kept being in the cafeteria because the food fight was definitely semi-referenced in the advertising. But his plate was loaded with an obscene amount of mashed potatoes and spaghetti, and immediately I was like, oh, this is clearly going to be a food fight. That's food fight food.
That's food fight food.
So I'm glad that you brought up that was food fight food, because one of the things I wanted to talk to you guys about was if you were gonna have a food fight,
Ooh.
what food would you stock up on?
Ooh, let's talk about that after the drinking rules. But that's a good
Oh
question.
my
Okay.
gosh, that's so good.
We'll circle back.
Well, we'll circle back to that, but that's a good
yeah, I
question.
think it might be good for us to circle back just because I have to really think about that. Oh my gosh, because there's
Yeah.
so much that goes into
Let
it.
that stew
The
for a
weight of the
second.
food. Do you
Stew
want
for
it
a
to?
second.
Do you want to like when you throw it, it like spreads and like splatters, or do you want something harder so that it like hits somebody? You got better accuracy. Oh my gosh.
Do you want a shotgun or a
That,
rifle? Do you
no,
want-
that is 100% what I'm talking about. Shotgun or rifle? Oh my gosh, I'll think about it. Sorry, keep going.
I honestly think that was it.
Okay. Still good rules.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I really couldn't think of any other than that, but I really like the McGoogles. The McGoogles one.
Good rules.
Good rules.
I had so Levi and I overlapped on whenever the principal says cease, which he's doing a lot. I also had whenever there is one of those school announcements that comes on the TVs. So whenever that happens, take a drink.
I forgot one.
Okay,
I do have one more.
go ahead.
Whenever the principal does something illegal, like not like a dick move, but like something genuinely illegal, like locking Max in the janitor's closet, messing with the budget. going after animals with a bulldozer.
Oh my gosh, yeah, he
Yeah.
would for sure go to prison. Also, I love the
He was
fact that you have to
horrible.
differentiate between a dick move and illegal.
Yeah, no, like, there are some things when it's like, God, you're like such a dick, but then there's like things that are just like straight up illegal.
Yeah. So Levi and I overlapped on one. We overlapped on the whenever the principal says cease, which he says a bunch throughout this movie.
Yes.
My second drinking rule was drink whenever there is a school announcement that comes on the TVs, which happens a few times, and including like Max even has one of himself. So drink whenever that happens. My third drinking rule is whenever you notice like a cameo or like a kid from another show. So we kind of talked about this already. Like there's Little Romeo, Gordo from Lizzie McGuire, Eddie from That's So Raven, Reese from Malcolm in the Middle. So kind of like whenever you recognize someone that's from like another kid show, go take a drink. And for Josh Peck, you can just do it the first time he comes on the bus because he is a prominent character in this. Unless you just want to do like the Josh Peck rule and drink whenever he's on screen, feel free to do that. My fourth drinking rule is whenever the principal uses that mouth spray, take a drink.
That's good.
Because I don't know why he's doing that either, but that's kind of weird.
Freshen up his breath. I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know. It was weird,
He's a
but
weirdo.
so whenever he does that, and then also for my last drinking rule, which I kind of like hate that they did this, but whenever they do a fat joke for Rogue, take a drink. Like they have a lot of he's eating food out of the garbage. Like come on, and like people that are a little bit larger aren't just. They're not pigs. They're not eating garbage. And then there's like a couple of times where like they just like dropped in like a fart sound effect for Robe, and that to me kind of like falls into that category. Like we're making a fat joke because fat people fart. Ha ha ha.
I always took that as not like a fat people joke, and maybe I'm not trying to defend it or anything because it's probably extremely insensitive that they did it. And now that you're pointing out that it was supposed to be like a bad thing, I never took that as like a bad thing. I took that as like this kid's really weird. He wears a robe everywhere. He clearly has some issues, and hygiene might be one of them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And that's not like a fat people have poor hygiene thing. It has nothing to do with his weight. I took it as like he's a weirdo.
Robe is a weirdo.
Yeah. So
I didn't take it as a fat joke thing either. I took it more as because the first thing we hear about Robe is that Max Keeble calls him that friend that's kind of weird, but he clearly doesn't care what anybody thinks, so he does what he wants anyway. And so he's like, he sees food on his shirt or whatever, and he's like, I'm gonna eat this. Or he sees food and he's like, ooh, I like that kind of food, and so he goes for it or whatever. I just figured it was him being just kind of himself. And less of a fat joke. I did love all of the fart jokes. I love the fart, like someone's butt hanging out of the vent, and you just kind of hear in the distance a fart joke. I love that. I thought that was hilarious.
Well, let's talk about scenes then. What kind of like stuck out to you, Levi?
Okay, I have a lot that stuck out to me because this movie kicks butt.
Great.
So
hell
there are a lot of great scenes in here. I'm gonna do a couple different things that I thought were either that I noticed or were either weird or awesome or hilarious. I got a whole bunch of stuff. First of all, I have to point this out before I start getting into favorite scenes. They're sitting in the middle of this English class or whatever, and they're going over grammar, and this is where Megan and Robe are listing off all of these things like backstabber, traitor, and they're giving all this stuff. The teacher says, a verb is a word that describes an action. That's not what a fucking verb is. It's not. A verb is an action, so... This teacher doesn't know what she's talking about. I heard that immediately. I said, come on. And I wasn't like, Max Keeble.
That's not a gerund.
Clearly, this teacher doesn't know what she's talking about. So, first of all...
I mean, half these teachers are idiots.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. A verb...
I love how you got so pissed about that. That's fantastic.
I did. It did frustrate me.
I love that you noticed
I did.
that.
I heard it. I said, hold on a second. So all of you people who learn your grammar from Max Keeble, a verb is an action. An adjective describes the verb. So that's what she meant to say was an adjective is a word that describes an action. Anyway.
Wait, Is it an adverb that describes a verb, not an adjective?
Or not? Yeah.
Or does an
Not
adjective...
an adjective describes a noun. Excuse me. You're right. Not an adjective, an adverb. Yes. So don't listen to me either, because I'm not a good teacher either.
Look, we are not teachers. We don't teach
Yes.
English. It's fine.
I have so many grammatical mistakes talking.
Oh my
on this
gosh,
podcast,
yeah.
So like, yeah, I have.
Yeah.
Like,
So really, what
I
I'm doing is
no
feeling smart out of the fact that
leg to
I
stand
figured
on.
out that this teacher was incorrect about an English level, or excuse me, elementary level English question. So yes, adverb describes an action. A verb is an actual action. That's what I meant to say. Good gravy. Okay, the science teacher.
Oh,
That woman would have been fired for sexual assault or sexual harassment a long time ago. She's just it's like all these middle schoolers, and she's like, pheromones, the sex drive, ooh, and she's walking on. I don't know if this is supposed to be
nature's dating service.
nature's
Yeah.
dating
God.
service.
That should be a drinking rule. How many times they fucking say nature's dating service in this movie? Because it said a lot.
I like had it wrote down in my notes. Could you imagine being this grown ass woman and your character's role is to just turn on these
Oh my
12-year-old
gosh.
kids?
Oh yeah, no, because when she was like walking down the aisle in the classroom, all the Bunsen burners.
That
turned
was
on,
very funny.
and it was
yeah.
like she was turning on the kids, and I was
Yeah,
like, "Bleh."
that was hilarious. The
Ugh.
problem, like, if this comes from if this is all from the perspective of like Robe or Max Keeble, then it's like it's funny because this is clearly like they're over sexualizing like this beautiful teacher. But if it is her, like somehow she's turning on these Bunsen burners whenever she walks past, or she's like, "Hello, middle schoolers." Nature's dating service. That's just so inappropriate. She would have been fired a long time ago.
Let's also talk about how much of a like just movie trope it is, or like even just like a TV show, film industry type trope, that the sexy teacher is a science teacher teaching about pheromones. Because we're watching Smallville, and the sexy teacher in Smallville was a science teacher teaching about pheromones. Like, why does
It's just trying to prime your brain for sex. That's all it's doing.
It is, but like, do something else. Literally anything else.
Yeah.
Like, be a little more
Listen,
original.
everybody knows that the most attractive teachers are always the English teachers because they're talking about literature and they're relating to the students and they're sitting in their chairs backwards and they're so hip and relatable. That's the one that they should be doing.
I mean, the only teacher I had a crush on in school was my English teacher, so.
I don't know if I ever had a crush on a teacher before.
And Brucker knows exactly who I'm talking about.
I did either.
Brucker knows exactly who I'm talking about, and I'm not. I'm
Yeah,
not mentioning
yeah, you
him
should.
by
Yeah,
name.
you should
we
not
don't
do
talk
that. So yeah, the science teacher, Max Keeble's dad gives him and his wife and Max Keeble's mom, this man's wife, a week's notice about the move. He's like, "Hey, by the way, we're moving," and they're like, "Oh," and then he decides to walk in and say, "Hey, honey, come on in here. I'm about to tell you and Max Keeble the big news that I have decided that we are not moving." And she's just like, "Oh, okay, great," and just moves on. That is just, oh, come on. You got to sit down with your wife and have a conversation. Come on. That's just a little thing.
And
Yeah, that's not
what
how
killed
families
me
work.
about this is that the time he's doing this is Thursday night. Like, they're supposed to be moving the next day. Nothing is packed. Like, Max Keeble's room is still like wall-to-wall stuff. Like, I don't see boxes anywhere. Like, that's a nightmare situation.
yeah.
Also, I have, speaking of wall-to-wall stuff, so I guess Max is supposed to be like this kind of wimpy, nothing, uncool band kid. But if you look at his wall, he's got a whole wall full of medals and trophies and all this stuff.
He's a really good bassooner.
Is that what it is?
But sooner,
We never got an explanation on that.
hey, yeah.
Because if he's supposed to be this little nobody, like, I can't say shit though, because I had trophies in my room and they were for debate, which is not cool at all. But
yeah.
like,
I mean,
I would like to know what they're for, and if they're for something nerdy, I feel like I would need context.
I mean, if you keep playing an instrument, but sooner or later you're gonna win an award.
Oh no.
Thank you. Do I get my Oscar on the right? Is that what? Okay. Or what? No, whatever the award for podcasts are. I don't know.
I don't
Webby
know.
Award?
A Dundee.
A Dundee. Yeah, I'll take my Dundee now. Yeah. So week's notice for the move.
We'll order you a Dundee off Amazon.
I've got a few more. The teacher threatens Max Keeble with a 2,000 word essay. In middle school, that's a lot. Like, that's a ton. And then it keeps climbing and hits 12,000 words. That's so much.
Yeah.
Like, what is...
Like, she has nothing else to threaten.
I guess so. And then she keeps... There's no, like, I'm going to go... Because, gosh, what is 2,000 words? Is that, like, for a middle schooler, that's a ton. What is that, like 3.5, 4.5 pages?
Maybe, yeah. I just like to think like paragraphs, like maybe 500 words. So like
a good sized one.
Yeah. So that's like 8 paragraphs for 2,000 words.
I don't know. I'm not good at math.
I don't know.
4 paragraphs.
Maybe that doesn't add up. Four paragraphs.
But they're giant paragraphs. I think like 500 words for
Yeah.
a paragraph is going to be like take up at least like 80% of that page if you're typing it out. Anyway, 2,000 words. That's a lot for a middle schooler. My last two, love the Disney intro, like the castle. The one that I saw. It was the classic
Brooker
90s
freaked out.
Disney castle, which is just always the Disney castle that I saw in all the movies all the cassette tapes. So that warmed up my heart. That honestly should be a drinking rule right off the bat. Just like give a little.
Just chug your whole
Yeah,
drink.
why not?
I have it
in
right
the name
here.
of Disney.
That might be copyrighted.
Yeah, there it is.
That's amazing.
He literally...
It's under 15 seconds.
Oh yeah, we're good.
It's under 15.
He literally made me rewind the movie so that he could watch that again.
I made it a post on our Instagram, and people are loving it, so it's okay.
I definitely paused the movie for a little bit just to look at the logo and be like, oh man, this was the era. My last one was, good gracious, that's CGI ostrich. Or not the ostrich itself wasn't CGI, but Max riding on the back of this ostrich and hopping off of the ostrich, that was good. That was really, really good effects for a 2001 movie, especially compared to, granted the budget wasn't the same, all the CGI garbage that we saw in Smart House and Luck of the Irish. This movie really knocked it out of the park. Granted, it had a higher budget, but even for back then, I was like, this is really, really impressive. So yeah, those are a bunch of tiny little things that I caught, good and bad. But really, my favorite times in the whole movie are whenever Max Keeble and Megan and Robe were all together interacting with each other. I thought that was just wonderful. Very, very
good.
childhood nostalgia.
Oh
yeah, definitely.
I really loved the opening sequence that we get in this movie, where it's like the fake out where it's actually a dream. It's Max's dream, and he's being chased by Jamie Kennedy, the evil ice cream man. And because I haven't seen this movie in years, I fell for the fake out, and I thought that this was reality. And I was like, holy crap, this ice cream man has a cannon. This is horrible. What's happening here? I was like, this is attempted murder. And then, we see Tony Hawk. And, of course, the kid's dreaming about meeting Tony Hawk and everything. It was just really fun and really kind of, set the stage of, all right, this is kind of like his idol because this is who he dreams about. This is who he is. This is who he's fearful of, this ice cream man and everything. And this is also the girl that he dreams of, the girl of his dreams, the Jenna person. It was just really fun and very I don't know. It was very childlike, and I don't know. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also really liked that Max, Megan, and Robe breaking into the principal's office at night to sabotage it.
Yeah.
That's just, I don't know. I would have loved to see the deleted scenes of all of these kids sneaking out of their house at night to to meet up and do this. And I also love that they all have different modes of transportation. Like Megan has a scooter, Max has his mountain bike, and Robe has like that low sitting bike thing. That's like a tricycle.
Yeah, like the layback, the bike that you kind of like lay down in and pedal when you're like laying. I don't know what it's called. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what it's called, but that's like that's so Robe. He would like pick something that he could like lounge in to travel.
He is all about comfort, man. I really got to give.
Oh
it to
my
him.
gosh, yeah,
Yes.
he figured it out.
Yes.
He figured it out.
It also kind of reminded me of that episode of Even Stevens where Lewis and Ren break into the school to set the trophy display. That was a good episode. That kind of like reminded me of all this. Just a fun fact.
See, are we not sure that that's not the same school?
I don't know, because I don't know if they're filmed in the same place.
I don't know either, but they all look the same. I'm just saying.
I don't know, but
And that might be a set for Lewis Even Stevens.
it might be. I don't know. But the fun fact or a little piece of trivia I saw about the scene for when they do break into the school, the very first shot of the movie filmed was Max crawling out of that duct system when he's breaking into the school, and the very last scene that they shot was him breaking into it. It was him crawling up into it. So it was kind of like a cool serendipitous thing to open and close the movie on, or at least the filming on. So that was kind of fun. Yeah. And I also had the milkshake party scene, because this obviously they're trying to just like cater to mom and dad a little bit, because like they're saying like chug 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 for the milkshakes. Obviously, if they were like maybe like seniors in high school or like college students, all this is being substituted with beer, and them dancing on the tables was just like, I was just like, this isn't happening. This doesn't happen. But I don't know. It was just kind of funny.
For Max Keeble, it happens because he's the man.
He's got to bust a big move on that table. Yeah.
My God, I mean, let me just tell you, he was the coolest.
Well, what kind of scenes really stuck out to you?
So I'm trying to look over my notes here. Definitely the milkshake thing. I gotta say, the food fight one, I want to be in a food fight so bad. Like, I genuinely want to, like, gather people in a cafeteria. I don't know where. I'll clean it up. It'll be fine. But I want to gather people and have a food fight. Like, I genuinely want to.
I've been in a food fight.
Although I realize that...
Oh,
yeah.
Tell me
It wasn't that like as epic as the one in Max Keeble, where people are like grabbing trash can lids and running and tucking and flipping. They straight up flip a table. Like it wasn't anything like that. It was literally just people kind of like someone threw something, someone screamed food fight, and then a small group of people started throwing it across the cafeteria. Some people kept like eating their food. It wasn't like everybody got in on it. So it was probably a total of like maybe 20 people were in on it, but it was enough for it to be like, people were throwing and covering themselves with food and people got in trouble.
It was more of like a food skirmish.
It was more like a food brawl than a food war.
Something that like we were talking about this, like watching this as an adult, the idea of a food fight sounds so repulsive. But like when I was like, I don't know about y'all, but when I was a kid, that was like, man, we gotta have a food fight at some time. Like I don't know why kids always want that.
Oh no, it sounds. I'm not repulsed as an adult. I'm not repulsed by it at all. I want it. I still do. The only thing that I'm like, ooh, about is that now as an adult, I'm like, as my father would say, there are people in China. That's where he would just end with that. But there are people
like wasting food.
Yeah, it's very wasteful, and I don't think I would be able to do that in right conscience.
Sure.
Unless the food was all like rotten and disgusting, which then I don't want it. But yeah, no, I don't think I could do it in good conscience, knowing that I was wasting food that somebody else could have had.
I think I'm the same as you, Kat. Like I but like in a different way. Like when I was younger, I always thought that the food fight was, oh, this is what the bad kids do. Like, oh, I don't want to get in a food fight because that's what the terrible kids do. They get into food fights. But now I'm like, gosh, I wish I'd gotten into more food fights. That is a blast. Like, in hindsight, like, yes, for the right, you should be respectful and kind and nice and considerate like that. But, like, looking back into elementary school and how much, like, if I ever got, like, a demerit or had, whatever you did, moved your card or whatever, like, it is so inconsequential to what is happening now. Like, in the end, me turning my card that one Tuesday because the teacher caught me talking to a friend, and I went home being like, Mom and Dad, I'm so sorry. Like, it doesn't matter. And I wish that I had done more, ridiculous stuff like that.
I kind of do too. I genuinely just wish I got in a food fight.
Yeah.
I got in trouble a lot as a kid for talking a lot. I was told, and still am told by certain people, that my voice is very quiet. And as a kid, I got in trouble for talking too much and too loudly. So I can't win.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really can't. I think the closest I ever came to a food fight was when I worked at Olive Garden and I just spilled food on myself. It was like a personal food fight. That's the closest I ever got to a food fight. I really want to be in a food fight. I'm trying to like justify it any way I can, but I've never been in a food fight. Have you ever been close to a food fight?
No.
Not even close. Kids, like, it's so funny that your story says, like, you said for your story that some kid threw something and then someone yelled food fight and then it just broke out. Kids were like so ready to go at any given moment, like for any sort of mayhem they could cause. I love that.
While we're on the topic, before you get into scenes, Kat, do you guys have because we're on the food fight topic, do you guys have the food you would choose in your food fight?
I thought that they had a really good layout for what? Don't laugh at me. I thought that they had a really good layout of food. Like, they had the spaghetti, they had mashed potatoes. I think that the foods that I would go with would be those kind of globby, messy, spreadable, splashy things.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. Part of me wants to say that I would do soup and stuff like that.
Oh my gosh,
soup!
It's like pouring oil on people.
I don't want to like burn people, but if it was like,
we're not burning orcs at the front of the towers or something.
Yeah, that's like some Helm's Deep, like medieval shit.
No, I'm not saying that I would burn people. I'm not saying hot soup. I'm saying like room temperature or chilled soup, which exists.
Chilled soup?
It does.
I don't know where you're going.
That's
but okay.
So funny.
It's just messy. I don't know.
I want to take a whole pizza that's uncut, just a whole circular pizza, and just like chuck it like a frisbee. That's what
That was
I
mine.
don't feel like that would have the effect.
Oh,
that was mine.
Really?
Except
I don't feel like that would have the effect you want.
not the whole pizza, the square pizzas. Like toss them like you could. Well, I got when you're in elementary school or middle school, you don't have big enough hands to hold it like a card. I've got really long fingers, so I could probably pinch a square pizza and throw it like a playing card or something. But yeah, I would just get a stack of those square pizzas and just toss them like frisbees. I feel like those things would fly.
That would be hilarious. You just gotta get the Chicago cut.
Yes, but as far as being like, but as far as being like satisfying, I feel like mashed potatoes because it just like splatters. Also, you said Chicago cut. Isn't that like lasagna?
No, Chicago cut. That's the square cut. That's Chicago cut.
Don't look at me.
Maybe that's maybe the Chicago cut. Chicago pizza is like thick and it's melty.
Yeah.
I'm splitting hairs.
He's Googling it.
I'm Googling it.
Very picky about your pizza.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's it. Yeah, Chicago cut is like when they cut the thin crust pizza into squares.
It does.
Ooh,
which is my
applesauce
favorite.
Would be a good one.
Applesauce?
Applesauce.
Oh yeah, that would be good.
Yeah.
I want to do spaghetti. Really
spaghetti
bad.
would
grab
be
like
a good
handful of spaghetti.
That's like your classic shotgun
spaghetti
pizza.
would...
That thing will spray.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to think. What were they putting? Somebody had.
That won't take them down. Just piss them off.
Yep.
You got to get something bigger.
Somebody had a slingshot in that scene. Where did they get a slingshot?
Like you said, these kids are ready for a fight. They're just waiting for someone to call out food fight. They've been bringing that slingshot to school for 8 years. They said, it's time, pull it out. They're shooting all these.
They really believe in the Second Amendment. They're just
their right to carry.
Carry a slingshot.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Good God.
Any other scenes outside of the food fighting scene?
Not that I can think of immediately, because I think we covered them all. I would like to bring up the animal shelter.
Yeah.
Because when you think of an animal shelter, you think of like dogs, cats, and maybe bunnies. These people had like llamas and goats. And what kind of animal shelter was this?
This was a zoo.
Yeah.
It felt like more of like this Tiger King stuff.
Oh God.
Oh, that's topical.
Have you watched Tiger King?
I haven't watched.
Yes, have you watched
I
Tiger
haven't
King?
watched it, but I do
Don't.
know what happens. That's
Don't watch it.
No.
It's not worth
You
it.
should watch it. It's insane.
I'm sure.
Also, while we're talking about this like animal farm thing, was the principal just planning on just slaughtering these animals?
He does a lot of illegal shit, and I
Clearly,
don't know what he
yeah.
was trying to do. Like, he got this bulldozer, and clearly, if he got the bulldozer, then, like, the people at the animal shelter had noticed. They knew that they were, like, had to be out, but all of the animals were still there.
And he looks at this
Like,
poor
what was
baby
the
goat, and he's
plan?
like, "I'm going for the baby goat first." Like, this guy's
Yes.
Yeah, the
insane.
smelly goat.
That's one point against this movie that I felt like was such a huge missed opportunity. I really disliked that they made this that they made the principal like a true mean evil person. Like, I thought that it was going to be like, oh, like yeah, he's like mean and angry, but like he's still like a school principal and somebody that like a kid should be able to trust, and like maybe he's just a little bit misunderstood, but really like
No, he's just an asshole through and through.
Yep.
like maybe he's wanting to use the plot for the animal farm for like something else, and he's relocating the animals to another place that's better. We just don't know it. But no, they just made him a jerk, and like to me, I felt like this was like a big missed opportunity to like let kids be like, oh, principals are like nice people too. Like, we don't have to like hate school or hate our teachers or anything like that. I don't know. That's something that I
don't think there's
did
a
not like.
single movie or TV show in the late 90s, early 2000s that was like, you know what we should do? Take time to help kids love school, because no kid loves school when they're in elementary and middle school.
Right.
And they're not going to do that, because like kids aren't going to be like, you guys should watch this movie. They're so respectful about how teachers are, and the principal is so nice in this movie. They're going to be like, you know what you hate? School. You know who the leader of the school is? The principal. That means they're terrible. This movie has a terrible principal in it. You can relate, right? And every kid is like, yeah. So I think it's just not geared towards people who can make sense of the world.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you start poking holes in the movie, you're gonna find them. If you like go looking, if you go looking for faults in this movie, you're gonna find
This
them.
movie deserves a 77% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's all. Hey, it's a fresh movie.
I mean, it's a kid's. It's a kid's.
It's a fresh movie.
and it's a damn good
Oh,
one.
I agree.
Any other scenes from anyone before moving on?
I think you got them all.
Well, I guess before sequel talk, maybe a little bit more of like a theme or message you could get from this. I really feel like the janitor Anthony really just spills it out, and that you need to kind of understand the consequences of your actions, and you got to be able to deal with those. With said consequences. Which something that I feel like it is a good like. It's something good for like a coming of age story, and something that every kid might need to hear.
I agree. I mean, the quote is, any kid can make a mess. It takes a real man to clean it up, or to clean it. Which that obviously that quote can apply to men and women. A real stand-up citizen has to clean it up. I think you're right. I 100% agree that it's which he's not a disrespectful kid. He's a nice kid. It's just in his mind he logicked his way into like, you know what? I can make a mess and I don't have to worry about it, but because I usually have to clean up messes because I live here. And so him kind of being responsible and saying, you know what, even if it doesn't affect me, I need to clean this up because it affects my friends and it is hurting the school, and this poor janitor has to keep cleaning up after me. And so, yeah.
And we not only see this through Max's story, but we also get it through the bullies, because they eventually get their retaliation not only from Max but from like some of the band members and some other people. And also we kind of see that with the evil Ice Cream Man as well. He kind of gets a little bit revenge from Max, which that's kind of like going back and forth what I was just saying, and also the principal too. Yeah, so I feel like it's not just Max, but it's also there's other characters in this that behave like, it doesn't matter what they do, they can still keep picking on these people or stealing their lunch money, but eventually they kind of got what they deserved at the end. Yeah. So that's kind of what I felt like that you could get from this.
That's good. I feel like the moral of this story is pretty cut and dry for the most part.
Yeah. All right. Well, since I know both of y'all love this movie so much, either of you want to see sequels?
No. It's perfect as is. Don't touch it.
You too, Levi?
Nope. I don't want a sequel. I can't imagine why. Yeah, it's fine the way it is. I really rack my brain because I like exploring the idea of what could be a sequel, even if it doesn't need a sequel. I don't think this needs a sequel. I don't think it should have a sequel. I think this movie by itself is very, very fun, and it goes full circle. It starts with him running away from the ice cream truck. It concludes with him running away from the ice cream truck, and it's kind of the kid, goes off to live the rest of his life and be on adventures with his friends. I think it's beautiful just the way it is.
Yeah, let's also not forget that this whole movie takes place the first week of school.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't need to see the rest of his school. He's going to have to write that 12,000 word essay and clean up all of this stuff. So yeah, I think it's fine the way it is. What about you, Brooker? Do you think it needs a sequel?
I originally was thinking yes, I don't know how, but I kind of ran into that brick wall that you kind of mentioned. I don't know what you would expand on or how you would do a sequel, but I kind of just want more Max Keeble adventures, but so I guess we have to say no, because I don't know how you would do it.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful the way it is. It is underappreciated for its time. It will be remembered as a stellar film. Mark my words, he said hopefully.
It'll go down in history. They'll put it in the Disney vault.
Yep.
Oh yeah, and for those of you that were with me when I was last minute tried to do like a live movie discussion thread for Max Keeble and found out that this movie's not on Disney Plus, even though when you search for it, it does come up. It will be on Disney Plus December 1st.
And it's on HBO right now.
Yeah, or you can rent it off YouTube.
Yeah, so it is available for that. But this movie was a lot of fun, and I'm really glad that both of you like it so much. I was actually surprised how much I liked it on the rewatch. And thank you so much, Kat, for being on with us.
Thanks
you
for
rock,
having
Kat.
me.
Seriously, thank you for introducing me to this movie. It is so far the biggest surprise out of any movie I've watched on Film on the Rocks, by far.
Oh wow, those are
That's
pretty cool. Before we leave, I just remembered I forgot Nate's rule. And so Nate, his one drinking rule was drink whenever Max burns a bridge. So pretty much, whenever he does like a really big prank, like especially on the principal, when he he breaks in and he writes down on his like false background that his little like thought bubble
wearing a thong.
It says I'm wearing a thong, which is that PG? I don't know, but so
I would say it's PG.
Yeah, so thank you everyone for listening. Thank you, Kat, for being with us. This has been Film on the Rocks, and it's been an awesome movie request month. Looking forward to doing more movie requests. You guys have great taste. You can find us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, and everywhere else you can find podcasts. Follow us on Twitter at Film on Rocks or on Instagram at Film on Rocks Podcast to be up to date on major show announcements. All right, guys. It's been a lot of fun, and we'll see you next week, with whatever movie we're doing. We haven't decided yet.
Bye, guys. Keep an eye out for those evil ice cream men. You don't know what they're up to.
Look out for Jamie Kennedy.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.